welcome to part 2 of this series where I am working my sketchbooks layer by layer, freely, intuitively. Please come along for the ride. So this is number 2, so if you haven't watched number 1, please go back and watch number 1, where I will be putting down pretty much the first layer in most of these sketchbooks. There's one that already has a layer in, so this is layer 3 for one of them. Please come and join me, working freely and intuitively with no plan and no real goal in mind. I'm not trying to make anything good, I'm not trying to make anything brilliant. I'm just putting down marks and having fun, and usually I create something that I love. So
good girl. Yeah.
This is the first sketchbook that I worked on in part 1. So I'm going to be working on this one again. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to do some scribbly marks, because I love to do scribbly marks, and I'm using a Posca pen. They dry nice and quickly, and I'm just going to do that to begin. The next thing that is drawing me, I am quite drawn to this pale blue, and blue is not a massive colour that I usually work with, to be honest. Just making a pale blue, or trying to be pale, and I'm going to draw in some sky again, and I'm going to come all the way down. So this is sometimes how I like to work with a flat brush. Again, this is completely unplanned. I might go all the way across there. Go in with some of these marks here and just continue them into the fresh paint that I've just put down. So I've got this idea of smoothness, but also this idea of scratchiness and aliveness as well, because the smoothness can be a little bit flat-ish. I wanted something really dark, so I might return to the charcoal here. But I do really like these green leaves here, so I'm going to find one of my favourite greens. So this is a Liquitex, and you can now buy Liquitex paint, £4, in a shop called The Works in the UK. And I was like, what? The Works are selling Liquitex? But they are. And I'm going to paint in some of these leaves. And might go over them with a different colour. And then I'm going to bring in, so I've got, oh yeah, I'm going to go onto the blue as well. That's fun, isn't it? Okay. And actually might bring in some yellow with some pastels. So I like these kind of marks as if I'm making trees. You know, the tree shapes, the spiky tree shapes up into the sky. I like that. Actually, red. Yeah, I think red's going to work well, and I'm going to bring the red into here. I actually really like it. I love the freeness, the scribbliness, and also the smoothness. I really like the smoothness of the blue, and it's again about that contrast of the smoothness and the scratchiness, I think, that I quite like. I'm thinking like this branch needs to be anchored here, so I'm going to bring that all the way down. So that's done. I'm calling that one done. I love lots of things about it. It's not a masterpiece. It doesn't have to be. That's not what we're aiming for. So this was the second one that I worked on yesterday, and I'm going to work on this one next. I think I'm going to go with some dark green. And I was looking on Pinterest earlier, and I really do feel like maybe I should be limiting my colour palettes more. So I'm starting with this green at the bottom. I've got this silicone tool. Oh, actually, this is nice. This is like a grass, which our grass is long right now. Okay, no doubt I'll end up getting this on me now I've done that right at the bottom. And then I'm going to come in with some a paler colour. So I'm just using white gesso here. And I'm going to coat over the top of the ink a little bit. Quite like how that kind of looks a bit misty. So I'm going to come in with some brown. Ink. I'm holding my brush right at the end. And this has also taken a kind of a tree shape. And I'm going to come back with my green and come in at the bottom again. And I'm going to flick some of this green onto it as well. A different brush. And then, oh, I quite like that. I like the green over the top of the this ink mark here. I'm not so keen on this. I feel like it needs more defining. So what I might do is come in with this and define. So this is the and I'm just going with the flow. What I might do is bring in a little bit of yellow. So I'm going to bring in some fluorescent yellow at the bottom. I can't tell you why. That is just what I am drawn to do. And I'm going to use my finger. And I'm going to try not to overwork it. And then I'm going to do a little bit of scratching in at the bottom. And I'm going to leave that there because it's quite wet. Is it a masterpiece? No. But I enjoyed doing it, definitely. And I really like this. And that's what you've got to focus on, is sometimes there's just one kind of interesting thing that comes out of a sketchbook page. And that's fine. And sometimes there are no interesting things that come out of the sketchbook page at all. And sometimes you think that is a right load of shit. But that's okay. It doesn't matter. Some of this is shit. That's okay. It's okay to not be perfect and to not create a perfect picture every time. You don't have to. And the way we get better is by producing bad pictures. Unfortunately, that's just how it works. I'm calling this one done. Okay, so this is the next one I worked on, and I actually think I'm really happy with this page. I really like the textures on there. I love this kind of tree shape, again, working with the trees on the kind of paler background, or trees in inverted commas, abstract trees. And I really like the gesso that I've wiped through with the brush. You can see the brush marks here. Don't know if you can see it. There we are. You can see the brush marks and then the ink that I've put over the top. I really love that. So on this page, I think I'm going to do something a bit different. So here is some collage paper that I have made. So this is a stamp that I've made. this kind of botanical shape, but actually now I put it down, it could almost be a fence or something like that. I've been looking at fences in one of my other sketchbooks the last couple of days, and way too much glue on there. I might do some green at the bottom, so I've got some green here that I've mixed with a little bit of water just to make it flow a little bit freer. And I've also got this blue, so sometimes in my sketchbooks I'm literally using up paint. Yeah, so I like the way that that's coming through, and that it's kind of smooth but also kind of scratchy. I'm going to scratch in with love doing this, as you may have noticed. I'm going to scratch in with that. I'm going to come in with some more white. So I actually love the smooth surface that I've produced here, and I find it difficult to produce smooth surfaces because I really like scratchy marks, big marks, bold marks, and it's something that I struggle with, to be honest. It's something that I'm always practicing. It's something that I sometimes have an intention of, and it's difficult for me to do. So this is a little bit of a breakthrough actually for me, and I really enjoy this, and I'm just gonna kind of wander up the page with the, so it's, I think it's a needle nose bottle. I just got it from eBay. I've filled it with ink. This particular one's a bit of a drip there. That's okay though. Just make a, just have a bit of perspective going on here. A couple of the other trees that I was observing are this sort of shape, so, and there we go, we've got a little bit of perspective going on, and actually I think I'm going to leave that there. I love that, really happy with that. Love the smoothness of the surface behind, but also the texture of it. This is definitely an interesting thing that I can follow up. So then I take an idea from this round of using my sketchbooks. I've got some other ones that I'm also using, so I'm not limited to 4, and then I'll do this sort of thing again and see how that looks and how that works out. So that's this one done, and this is the last one. So I think I'm going to go in with some angular, do you remember I did those angular lines in the very first sketchbook? So I think you can probably see my palette there, which is good, and I'm just kind of mixing it in with some other colours that I've used. I suppose maybe I'm drawn to red. I've just put all my Christmas decorations away, so, and the house feels a little bit naked which is fine. I don't mind that. Feels nice and clear and clean and fresh. And I'm actually nearly finished this book, I think. Oh, I think this might be the last page of this book, so I'll have to do a sketchbook tour of this one. And I might start like I did with the other one. Right. There we go. I love that. I love that because you can see, I can see the leaves through. And you see how this dress pattern has created a really lovely texture as well. So I'm going to choose pink. I'm going to come in with a little bit of pink there. And just paint that leaf. There. I don't love how that looks, but actually, changed my mind. This is the wonderful thing actually about acrylics, is you can change your mind. And I'm going to do this leaf red, and I'm going to really stick to that colour palette. In fact, I'm going to just dab it. So I'm going to bring in the red. I might actually just make it a little bit of a different shape. That's better, look. Do you see how that is just better than whatever it was that I was doing before? Trying to fill in. I was trying to fill in the, you know, the shape that I'd made with the ink. I might come out here with this. And then out here with this. So I just never really know where something's going to go. I'm going to come in with some black ink again, I think. And I'm going to use my little needle nose bottle. So this is all quite organic. And then I've got this structure as well. So what I might do is bring in some more structure here. So 1, 2, 3. And then some more craziness over here. And then I've got kind of a little bit of both going on. And now I don't feel like the two are connected. So I'm going to come in there. That's better. And then I'm going to do some more. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I like the number 12. That's good. And then what I might do is, there we go. So this part here is a little bit more organised, and I think the organisedness of this area is lovely. So I actually think I'm going to leave that there, not because I think it's finished or because it's wonderful, just because there's some really nice things that have happened and some things that I really like. So I think I'm done